Welcome back to Sissy Maya. Make sure to subscribe to our channel to never miss an update. Additionally, consider subscribing to my Patreon to get access to these features, and much more. Hello Grace and Hannah, I hope you're ready for this. It turned out a bit long. Hannah, could you please print this out and give a copy to Grace? I'm sure she'd like to keep it. I knew, when my wife volunteered me for this, it would be an experience. After all, I spent years in the military where I was always volunteered for things, so I figured it wouldn't be too bad. What am I talking about? In case you don't remember, our church ladies group had a ladies' night in tonight. One of the events was a makeover done by the owner of the Fran Brown School of Cosmetology. She thought it would be fun to do a guy. Since I'm one of the skinnier guys in church, maybe even the whole county, she picked me. Isn't that great? Anyway, she asked my wife, since why not go straight to the top? And my wife thought it would be fun. Thanks, hun. Here's a quick rundown of today and tonight's events. MIA, the beauty school owner, decided not to tell anyone at church who was getting the makeover. She had me show up at her school at 3:30 today. When I walked in, the girl at the front desk greeted me, saying, "You must be Jack," and told me that MIA was busy and that I should follow her. She led me to a room and asked me to take off my pants and put on a gown. I asked why, a bit embarrassed, and she explained that MIA wanted to start with a leg waxing. I tried to clarify that I thought MIA was going to do the waxing at the demonstration, but she said the plans had changed. MIA was only going to do my makeup and hair at church. I reluctantly complied, already wondering what my wife would owe me for this. She came in once I was changed, had me lie down on the table, and began spreading wax on my legs and arms. I'll spare you the details of the howling and yelling that followed. After she finished, my legs felt oddly sensitive to the air, which was to be expected after all that hair was ripped out. Next, I was led into another part of the school, where they were going to do my nails. Can you believe this, Grace? I've always been great at saying no to people, but today was different. I meekly sat down in the chair. The girl said she had always wanted to do a makeover like this and had even tried to get her boyfriend to do it, but he refused. At least I was fulfilling someone's fantasy. She told me that MIA had already picked out the nail length and polish color, so I just had to sit back and relax. Relax? I don't know about you, but I never find getting my nails done relaxing. First, they scraped my nails with a machine, then placed these things around them, added some acrylic material, and let it dry. Afterward, they started scraping and grinding again. It definitely made my hands look interesting. When she finally finished smoothing them out, she started polishing. She begged me to keep them, offering free fill-ins for life. Yay, right? I politely declined, saying they would be coming off tonight. She just smiled and nodded. Finally, MIA came in and apologized for being busy, asking if her team had been taking care of me. She moved the robe aside, checked out my legs, and told me she had always wanted to see them like this since she saw me in shorts. Apparently, I have great legs based on the compliments I got. She then led me to the salon area and told me to sit down and find out what would happen next. She moved the back of the chair so my head was in a sink. She said it was time to clean up my eyebrows. I made a light-hearted joke about having just showered this morning, but she didn't find it funny. She proceeded to wax my eyebrows, and after the usual ripping sounds, I looked in the mirror to find a slightly different version of myself. My eyebrows were puffy and red. "Don't worry," she said, "the swelling will go down by tonight." Great, just what I needed to hear. She told me to take a break and maybe read a magazine. The reading material wasn't much, so I picked up a Cosmopolitan with Heather Locklear on the cover. Thumbing through it, which was awkward with my new nails, I realized what some women go through to look the way they do. Maybe I finally understand a little of what they endure. I guess it was about time I got a glimpse of the effort women put in. It was around 6 o'clock when she came in and told me it was time to get dressed. From the smirk on her face, I knew exactly what that meant. As I followed her into the room, I saw a dress hanging there. She explained that due to time constraints,
The only part of the makeover she'd have time for tonight was the makeup portion. Since no one knew who the volunteer would be, she wanted to keep it a surprise for the others. She showed me how to put on the stockings, which was tricky with the nails, and left me to get dressed. When she returned, she helped me into a bra, my first wonder bra, and added some padding. It was a strange sensation, but I went with it. Then, she helped me into the dress, zipped it up, and had me turn around. She shook her head and said, "Jack, you should have been born a woman." I think I actually blushed for the second time in my life. We went back to the salon, and she started applying what she called contouring and foundation. Then, she returned with a wig, styled it, and sprayed it. After stepping back to assess, she said something was missing and that she'd be right back. She returned, turned me away from the mirror, and told me to hold still. Suddenly, I felt something cold on my ear and pulled away, alarmed. I firmly told her I wouldn't let her pierce my ears, no matter how quickly they'd heal. For a moment, I considered leaving, but when I caught sight of myself in the mirror, I realized I wasn't seeing a man staring back at me anymore. I'd gone too far to turn back now. She returned with some clip-on earrings and other jewelry, saying it was time to go. I heard her say, "1 second, Cinderella," as she slipped some shoes onto my feet. They fit perfectly. I asked how she knew my dress and shoe size, especially since I didn't even know my dress size. She explained that my wife had measured some of my clothes. It's nice to have a spouse who thinks of the little details, isn't it? I almost caught myself asking if you've ever walked in heels. I'm guessing you both have. It was a whole new experience for me. MIA told me to stop complaining since they were only 1.5 inches high. I responded that they felt like 1.5 inches too much. After a few tips from her, I eventually got the hang of it. Maybe it was the California in me, and we headed to church where everything was getting set up, though, honestly, I was pretty useless with my new nails. I stayed in a back room while they made preparations. I started to get nervous, big surprise, right? Because I was about to step out in front of the church ladies in a dress. The time finally came, and MIA led me to the chair, put a smock around me, which didn't cover my legs, and moved the divider in front of the chair. There was no gasping or giggling, so I stayed calm. MIA explained to the group that her friend Jessica had volunteered to be the demonstration model and that all the foundation was already done. The remaining part was the makeup. MIA began hauling out powders, pencils, and other items while explaining to the ladies what she was doing. Since Jessica has thin lips, we'll use a lip liner pencil to redefine them, she explained, and then she'll have those sexy, kissable lips the guys go crazy for, right, Jessica? I just rolled my eyes and smiled. About 30 minutes later, MIA finished with the makeup and adjusted my wig. She then pulled out a bottle of perfume and sprayed a little on me. It smelled wonderful, and I wished I could pronounce the name to buy some for my wife. She took off the smock, asked me to stand, and turn for the audience. The ladies oohed and ahed and clapped. I have to admit, the recognition felt good. Then, I realized I was standing there in a dress and makeup, and no one knew it was me. Unfortunately, that didn't last long. MIA asked for quiet and said she had something else to share. She explained to the group how makeup has the power to transform, making the ordinary extraordinary. She talked about how our self-image is often tied to earthly concerns, while God sees beyond that. Then she said, "You all know how makeup can create a powerful illusion." She smiled and added, "I'm here tonight to tell you it can sometimes be even more powerful than you think." She paused and said, "The stunning young woman you see here tonight, Jessica, is actually not a woman at all." That's when I finally heard the gasps from the crowd. "Jessica," MIA said, "is really Jack." The room went silent. Then, Debbie, one of the younger members, started giggling and clapping. Soon, the other ladies came by to shake my hand, telling me things like, "You look gorgeous, I wish I could pull off a miniskirt like that, and feel free to join the ladies' Bible study anytime." I sat down next to MIA and listened to the rest of the evening's entertainment. She kept giving me tips on how to smooth my skirt, cross my legs, and so on. She also mentioned that she wanted me to be one of her final exam guys. Apparently, at her beauty school, the final exam involves seeing how beautiful they can make a man. It's a test to see how well they've mastered their techniques. I told her I'd think about it. Afterward, we went out to eat. Yes, I was still dressed up. Now, I'm sitting at home, waiting for my wife to return from work. She wanted to see me, so I had to keep everything on. I can't believe how hard it is to type with these nails. MIA also explained why the girl who did my nails had been smirking when I said I'd remove them tonight. Apparently, I might damage my nails if I try to take them off myself. So, MIA told me to come in Monday morning for the removal. That means I'll be showing up for church on Sunday with bright red, long nails. Oh well, it's not like the whole church won't already know what happened tonight. Well, Grace and Hannah, I didn't think it would be this long, but a lot happened today. Hope I didn't bore you with all this, and I hope you have as much fun at your banquet as I did today, smirk. Let me know if you want to hear about what happened when we went out to eat. Until next time. Jack, or should I say Jessica. So, you want to know what happened the other night, huh? Alright, if you think you can handle it, I'll tell you everything. I'll try to be a little more concise this time. Yeah, right. As I mentioned, after the makeover, I had to sit with MIA and listen to the rest of the evening's entertainment. Women really have a different way of interacting than men. At times, I think they forgot I was there, and they shared their emotions freely. Honestly, I kind of forgot I was a man, too. Odd, right? Well, I endured a lot of tips on posture and how to cross and uncross my legs in a more feminine way. Did she think I was staying this way? And finally, it was over. I thought I could change and leave. Then it hit me. I had left all my clothes at Mia's school. I remember walking out thinking I forgot something, but the scent of the perfume, the feel of the slip against my hose, and the sound of my heels on the floor made me temporarily forget. At least, that's the only explanation I can think of. Mia reminded me I had to stay dressed so my wife could see me. Then she mentioned that a few of them were going out to dinner and invited me along. Since MIA drove, I didn't really have a choice. I was worried someone might recognize me, but MIA just laughed and said, "No one will recognize you, and you look more like a woman than I do." I asked what she meant, and she said that, looking like I did tonight, someone would need a chromosome test to figure out I was actually a man. I think I blushed for the third time in my life. The real issue was I hadn't seen myself yet. I told MIA this, and she took me to the ladies' room at church, stood me in front of the full-length mirror, and said, "You don't trust me? Trust your own eyes." Have you ever heard the phrase, "I can't believe my own eyes"? That's exactly how I felt. I've been looking in mirrors for years, but I didn't expect to see a beautiful woman staring back at me. As a man, I've certainly seen better, but honestly, I've seen much worse, too. Grace, you might remember me in shorts. Trust me, with the hair gone, these are legs that could belong to a college girl, legs I'd definitely notice on the street. The rest of my body looked undeniably feminine. I looked at how the dress hugged my curves, and I could find nothing masculine about it. The Wonder Bra certainly helped. I started wondering if I really wanted my wife to see me like this. Don't get me wrong, my wife is beautiful, but that night, I could see quite a few areas where I looked prettier than she did. About then, MIA started talking about her blood sugar and said we had to leave. The trip to the restaurant was uneventful, but getting out of the car in a miniskirt should probably require a class or certification. But, with their encouragement, I went inside. I thought I was going to hyperventilate, but MIA said, "Relax, Jessica. The only thing you need to worry about tonight is single guys." The hostess led us to our table, saying, "Right this way, ladies." MIA made sure I sat on the outside, so everyone could see my legs. The waiter greeted us with a "Good evening, ladies," and seemed puzzled when a few of us snickered. He took our orders, I must have been panicking, given how high my voice was, and left. I let out a huge sigh of relief, and MIA made some comment about how he probably thought I was cute. After we finished our meal, MIA mentioned she wanted to go to the ladies' room. I almost said she didn't need my permission, but she told me she wanted me to come along to touch up my makeup so I'd look soft and pretty for my wife. By this point, I wasn't worried about being discovered, so I followed her into the inner sanctum of womanhood, the ladies' room. Let me tell you, you all have it easy when it comes to restrooms. In most men's rooms, it's dark, smelly, and there's usually urine on the seats because no one lifts the lid. Not in the ladies' room, though. It was bright, nicely painted, and had a comfy couch. It was so much nicer. MIA quickly fixed my makeup and hair, a 5-minute job, and told me it was time to meet my wife. The other girls wanted to go dancing, but I was way too nervous for that. I now believed I could easily pass as a woman, but I feared getting into trouble if a guy found out my secret. I decided it was best to avoid the situation. MIA dropped me off at home, telling me I could get my clothes on Monday when I had my nails removed. I still couldn't believe I had to wait until then. Oh well, I guess I'd be keeping my hands in my pockets for the next 36 hours. My wife came home about 15 minutes later. She kind of gasped when she saw me, thinking she'd walked into the wrong house. After her initial shock, a smile spread across her face. She didn't say anything but walked around me a few times, looking me up and down. My God, they didn't have to remove anything, did they? She asked. She said she was jealous of my body and face and that I looked beautiful. I tried to protest, explaining it was just clothes and makeup, but she didn't buy it. She said that beneath all of it, it was still me providing the essence of womanhood. She told me she was proud of me for agreeing to this and promised to make it up to me. I mentioned that the ladies had fun with it, and I did too, in a way. It felt strangely satisfying to fool all those people. I don't think anyone at the restaurant realized I wasn't really a woman. As a final surprise, I got to experience how a woman gets ready for bed. Cleaning my contacts, especially getting them out with nails, was a challenge. Removing my makeup was harder than I thought, and I couldn't just toss my clothes in a pile. I had to carefully hang up my dress, take off my bra, goodbye, cleavage, scratch for a few minutes, how do women stand it, and gently remove my hose. Finally, I was done. Quite a difference from just brushing my teeth and hopping into bed. The finale is approaching. I have to tell you, ladies, I don't know why you do it. Cosmetics, tight clothes, uncomfortable shoes, okay, they weren't that bad, all for what? For a man to notice. Trust me, they don't see all the effort you go through to look your best for them. That night, I learned just a small part of what it means to be a woman. I can tell you one thing, I will never again ask my wife to hurry in the bathroom while she's doing her hair and makeup. Now that I know what it takes, I think every guy should experience something like this, so they can better appreciate what women go through to impress them. It's now Friday night, the week after Operation Jessica. I still have reminders of the night. My eyebrows are still quite thin. They were never particularly thick, but now they definitely look feminine. My legs itch like you wouldn't believe. I feel like a cricket every time I rub them together. My wife just tells me that if I want the itching to stop, I should shave them. She says the itching will stop. I asked her what I should do next time, and she smirked and told me to just keep shaving them. I think she likes the feel of them. Since no one knew I was a man while getting my makeup done, there are no pictures. I think I saw flashes when MIA revealed my secret, so I'll see if anyone got any pictures. Maybe I should just go to glamour shots. What do you think? I guess I didn't keep this as short as I promised. Sorry about that. Could you please print a copy of this for Grace? I'm sure she'll get a kick out of it too. Don't forget to join me on Patreon for exclusive content.